Hello, this is Corbin, the awkward Gamemaster, and welcome to Beyond D&D. Today we will be discussing Vampire the Requiem. Feel free to use the timestamps below to skip around the video if you're looking for specific information. Vampire the Requiem is a standalone RPG in the Chronicles of Darkness setting, which centers around humans who got turned into undead bloodsuckers that must now deal with their own inner beast and the politics of the vampire world. Please note that Vampire, more than any other Chronicles of Darkness setting, covers the theme of addiction, so if that's a sensitive topic for you, please be aware before going further. Just to clarify, I will only be covering Vampire the Requiem 2nd Edition. I'm not familiar with 1st edition, however I am familiar with the Old World of Darkness version through the Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines video game, so please forgive me if there are some minor mistakes. I'm running this script past a few experts on Requiem, so hopefully most of my slip-ups will be corrected and caught in the editing process. The embrace is when a vampire drains a mortal of their blood completely, then feeds the corpse their vampire blood. This makes the vampire the sire of the newly created child there. That's child with an E because obscure vocab, yay! Typically embracing someone requires approval from vampire leadership, but that depends on which vampire community you're in. Vampires refer to themselves as kindred, but I won't be using that term throughout the rest of the video. Every vampire has a bloodthirsty side to them, known as the beast. Think of it as that voice in your subconscious that tells you when you're hungry, but instead of food, it's blood. This is the internal struggle every vampire must fight with. Can you overcome the monster inside you, or do you give in to your hunger? Requiem's vampires have some deviations from your standard vampire. Sunlight can kill them, same with fire, but a stake through the heart will only paralyze them until the stake is removed. Certain vampires may have additional banes, like being driven away by garlic or having to be invited into a home, but these are the exceptions. Vampire is known to be a game of political intrigue. As such, Vampire Society has a lot more political drama than any of the other Chronicles of Darkness games. Vampire Society is ruled by 3 traditions: Masquerade, Progeny, and Amaranth, though I might be mispronouncing that. These are essentially: keep vampire existence secret. If you make another vampire, you are responsible for their actions. And do not completely drain another vampire to death. The stereotypical vampire society is ruled by a leader known by the genderless honorific prince. Though each princedom may use different titles for their leader, and a princedom is how far a prince's control reaches. It can be as large as an entire state or province, or as small as a few city blocks. Harpies are the term used for vampires who make sure other vampires are maintaining the masquerade, kind of like sanctioned gossips, whereas sheriffs are the main muscle of the prince and act as the law. They will often have deputies known as hounds to assist them. Ghouls are humans who have drunk vampire blood. This gives them prolonged life and special abilities, but makes them magically bound to their master and dependent on vampire blood to enjoy the benefits. Vampire politics revolve around factions called covenants, many of which vie for control. I will cover these in more detail later on in the video. The timestamp is below in the description if you want to skip. Unlike Vampire the Masquerade, vampire communities in Requiem are more up to the game master's discretion. Do you want a city run by a council of elder vampires? That's fine. Want a city run by a singular vampire whose leadership can be challenged in battle? That's fine too. Vampires start with a clan, which is the type of vampire you are, and covenant, which is which faction you're a member of. Every vampire has a dirge and mask that form their personality. The dirge is how a vampire truly behaves when no one is watching, and the mask is the facade they put on to hide their vampiric nature. Touchstones are links to a vampire's mortal life. They can be people, places, or things, such as an ex who thinks you're dead, a picture of your dead granddaughter, or an ancestral home. Blood potency is how powerful a vampire is. This can go up with age every 50 years, but can be faster with experience points. Disciplines are the vampire abilities you can use and are limited by your clan and sometimes other prerequisites. Clans are the type of vampire you were turned into. Your clan is dictated by your sire, so when choosing your clan, know that your sire will be the same one. Later on, you may choose a subcategory of clan known as a bloodline, but this is optional. Bloodlines usually stem from a very powerful vampire, and player characters can even create them too later on in the game. The 5 main clans are Maquette, Deva, Gangrel, Nosferatu, and Ventru. There are more, but it's up to the Gamemaster if they want to include additional ones. Maquette are the shadowy figures hiding in the night. They are stereotypically more introverted than the other clans. I'd equate them most with the original Dracula, dark, mysterious, and sometimes sneaking into people's bedrooms in the middle of the night. Deva are emotional manipulators and oozing charisma. They stereotypically are more extroverted than the other clans and focus on being physically stronger and faster. An example of one might be your more romanticized vampires, like Lestat from Interview with a Vampire or any vampire from a supernatural romance novel. Gangrels are tough as nails survivors. They stereotypically focus on violence more than the other clans. Selene from Underworld is a good example of one, or any vampire action movie protagonist. Nosferatu are the outcasts of the vampire clans. They are cursed to be lonely. They stereotypically are disfigured and tend to hide themselves from humanity. If you know of the silent film Nosferatu, then you know what these guys are. If not, the Phantom of the Opera is a good non-vampire example, or you can go with Count Von Count from Sesame Street. Why is his skin purple? What happened to him? Ventru are the vampires who are more akin to political masterminds. They stereotypically are stern and professional. A good example might be Kingpin from Spider-Man or Christian Grey from 50 Shades of Grey. After you become a vampire, you get to choose a faction within the vampire community called Covenants. The Carthian movement are vampires who embrace progress and hope to elevate vampire society with the ideals of the modern era, essentially seen as revolutionaries by the other Covenants because they embrace ideas like democracy and self-governance. The Circle of the Crone are the spiritual faction of the vampires. Akin to cults, they have their own mysticism divorced from human religion. Invictus are your political faction. They have centuries of etiquette, laws, and customs to uphold. They also prioritize maintaining the masquerade. Forgive me if I mispronounce this. Laci Sanctum are the religious faction of vampires. Specifically, they believe the Judeo-Christian god cursed vampires to test the faith of the innocent through being monsters. The Order Dracul embrace being a vampire the most. Stereotypically, they might be called vampire scientists. Unlike the Laci Sanctum, they think that God cursed them as punishment and are determined to remove the curse, but keep the power. I won't be going into detail about each of the individual disciplines, but essentially each one of these categories covers your vampire powers. Examples being super strength, super speed, hypnosis, emotion projecting, transforming into a bat, invisibility. The list goes on. It's quite cool. Think of blood sorcery as vampire wizardry. I will not be covering blood sorcery in this video, as not all vampires use these abilities, but Isaac on the Chronicles of Darkness Discord group created this Venn diagram showing the blood sorcery and covenant advantages. Hopefully I can cover this in full in a future video. When running Vampire, be sure to remember your player's touchstones. It's easy to forget these characters were once humans, so always remember to bring them in every once in a while. Use senses to emphasize the vampire experience. A vampire will taste blood in the air before seeing it. Vampire politics are a key aspect to remember as well, as everyone is trying to gather more power and will often be very polite up front, but masterminding petty revenge in the background. Don't forget to role-play out feeding. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but vampires need blood, and hand-waving feeding detracts from the monstrous nature of being a vampire. The last thing I'll mention are the two antagonists you can use, the Strix and the Seven. The Strix are shadowy owls that drain life force instead of blood and will possess corpses, even vampires. They're just walking corpses. And the Seven are a covenant of vampires who will hunt other vampires. Supposedly, when they completely eradicate enough vampires, they will destroy themselves. It's their goal to completely eradicate vampires. If I were to run Vampire the Requiem, I'd definitely start my players off as new vampires called neonates, and task them with probably silencing a cop who's gotten a little too close to the vampire community. Additionally, the prince I would have would probably hold their court in a speakeasy, which would be something that they carried over from when they were around in the 1920s. In the background, there'd probably be a vampire council that advises to the prince, but they're trying to take the executive power away from the prince and become the actual main figureheads. Outside of that, I'd probably throw the Strix in as growing in number in the area, which is often associated with an omen of disaster. But honestly, my favorite part about these Chronicles of Darkness games is how much you can focus on player backstory. And honestly, even when I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons or other games, I'll focus on players' backstories a lot more. Sadly, trying to find a Vampire the Requiem podcast is pretty difficult. The Bloodlust actual play podcast ran first edition back in 2017, but with the popularity of Vampire the Masquerade, it's really hard to find any Requiem actual plays online. Link is in the description below if you want to check it out. If you're really interested in Vampire the Requiem, I highly recommend What We Do in the Shadows TV show and the movie as well. It's a dark comedy that really nails what it's like to play Requiem, and I really find it hilarious and fun to watch. I'd like to thank a couple of people who helped me with my research in this video. Oniwolf, a professional GM. He didn't sponsor the video, but I'll put a link in the description to his Start Playing account if you want to hire him. And also, I'd like to thank the Vampire crew on the Codex of Darkness Discord channel, Isaac, Essence, and Falco, as their input helped me a lot. Thank you for watching. If there's anything you liked, please hit the like button, and if you have any feedback, please leave it below in the comments. I hope this video has helped you get a better understanding of Vampire the Requiem. Thank you so much, and have a good one.